We move on to the next motion this evening. Councillor Childs, as set out in the agenda at item 4.2. Councillor Childs, would you like to propose a motion?
Thank you, Chair. Given this council declared the planet faces a climate crisis, I call on this council to consider, and that's a really important word in this motion, the plant-based treaty, which calls for world leaders and governments to take action to halt the global degradation of critical ecosystems caused by animal agriculture by promoting a shift to healthier, sustainable plant-based diets. This action will help reduce farming-associated methane emissions, reduce water usage and pollution, and reduce deforestation and increase biodiversity. Note, the treaty calls for a shift, another important word, to plant-based eating. It is not asking people to completely exclude meat, poultry, fish, eggs or dairy, but to choose more plant-based way of eating. You can read all the detail in the link, which I think you have. The plant-based treaty itself has three core principles: to relinquish no land use change, ecosystems, degradation or deforestation for animal agriculture. Secondly, to redirect an active transition away from animal-based food systems to plant-based systems. And thirdly, to actively restoring key ecosystems, particularly restoring forests and rewilding landscapes. The health advantages of shifting towards a plant-based diet are well known and will ease pressure on the NHS as the population can benefit from improved heart health, reduced risk of cancer and reduced risk of diabetes. Shifting towards a more plant-based diet would put food systems at the heart of combating the climate crisis and would actively reverse damage done to planetary functions, ecosystem services and biodiversity. Even if we ended the use of fossil fuels today, emissions from the food system alone would send global temperature rises above 1.5 centigrade, the target of the Paris Agreement, so please consider this. Therefore, I am asking that Central Bedfordshire Council explores further ways of promoting a shift to plant-based diets as part of its sustainability plan refresh. This could include ideas such as having one day each week meat-free, say Monday in the council canteen, and other establishments during which people are encouraged to choose a plant-based meal. Secondly, reaching out to schools to consider a day each week where plant-based menus are promoted, given the success of our eco-schools showing young people care very much about the impacts of climate change and may consider having one day a week meat-free. And thirdly, to work with members and officers to identify other opportunities to promote the benefits of plant-based eating.
Thank you, Councillor Childs. Microphone off. And do I have a second for that motion? Oh, Councillor Y. Would you like to speak on that now, Councillor Y?
I'll speak after discussion.
Thank you. So we're going to go to debate next. Who would like to speak first? Councillor Bell.
I fully support this motion. I'm very much a committed carnivore. I like meat. But I can see the sense in us considering very seriously that we need to consider very carefully the effect that too much meat has on the planet. And I would actually take it one stage further on Section B and some of the ideas that Councillor Childs put out about reaching out to schools. The average primary school cannot grow a cow, but it can grow a carrot. And actually, from an educational point of view, from growing it to the plate is a fantastic thing. So I fully support this motion. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you. I remember when a very similar motion was debated a few years ago, put forward by Councillor Y. And I remember the slight sense of panic among the Conservatives. This is not about giving up meat. This is about encouraging a more diverse diet. I eat meat, and I've eaten it from the same farm. It was a wonderful farm near Bedford, lots of trees, and indeed cattle play a role in managing green spaces. The Knepp estate, that is the lead in rewilding, depends on having some longhorn cattle to manage the area. So this is about treating land with respect, because eating some meat where it's looking after forest areas and scrub areas as a treat, or eating it occasionally, or even quite a few days a week, plays a role. But when you're eating masses of meat that is a result of farming in South America, where you're getting parts of the Amazon forest chopped down so you can have cattle ranching, or where you have really intensive poultry farms whose slurry then goes into the River Wye and pollutes it, that is when it's really wrong. So this is purely about getting a bit of balance and a bit of education. Many people in this room really enjoy going for an Indian curry or a Thai curry, which will quite often be vegetarian, and they won't even think about it. Eating a range of lentil split peas is just part of a healthy diet. And if we can encourage that as part of a holistic spectrum, it's not being the nanny state, it is about encouraging thoughtfulness and thinking about our whole environment. So I would really urge everyone to support this. Thank you very much.
Councillor Whittaker.
Thank you, Chair. Much like Councillor Bell, I'm a fully fledged carnivore, and I have to say that at the start of every new year, I start with the best of plans for veganuary, or at least trying to do a couple of days a week where I do eat a plant-based diet. I have to confess it quite often slips away quite quickly, but I love the idea of promoting that and encouraging me, as well as everybody else, to eat more plant-based foods. And I'd just like to say, I think the idea of promoting that to schools is something that I'm very happy to take forward. I think that is something that I expect a lot of our schools are already doing, and it'd be interesting to see what they're doing and how we might be able to roll that out wider.
Councillor McMahon.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to speak in favour of this motion also. In 2021, the UN Global Methane Assessment deduced that by 2030 we needed to reduce our carbon emissions by 45%. The largest source of human-based methane comes from animal agriculture, and 2/5 of our land currently go towards producing feed for animals. Globally, 32% of methane comes from animals. In the UK, it's 50%. Half of our wheat harvest goes towards feeding animals. That's enough flour to bake 11 billion loaves of bread, and in a cost of living crisis, I think that is quite a staggering figure as well. At COP28, 134 nations signed a pledge that brought food system transformation into their climate action plans. Around 700 councillors nationally and 22 cross-member MPs support this treaty, along with IPCC scientists, Nobel laureates, and more than 3,000 businesses and groups which have also signed up to this treaty. They include the UK Health Alliance on Climate Change, the Climate Emergency Institute, the Ocean Preservation Society, as well as the more well-known groups such as Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth. And so I would like to support this motion going forwards. Thank you.
Councillor Fade.
Thank you, Chairman. I think this motion is definitely put down with the best of intentions, but if we're being asked to consider the plant-based treaty, we should probably consider all of the plant-based treaty and not just the parts that are put in front of us this evening. Exploring online and looking at the briefing paper which came out, I think, on the 15th of November, this is about more than just shifting towards a plant-based diet. There's commitments in the plant-based treaty to no new animal farms, no new slaughterhouses, No expansion of existing farms which have livestock on them. Chairman, as a planning authority, that A, puts us in a compromising position, but B, is that actually in the best interests of reducing carbon emissions? I would rather we ate local meat than flew an avocado over from Mexico, for example. I think this debate is slightly more nuanced and more subtle and sophisticated than just saying meat, lots of carbon emissions, plant-based, less so. What's probably more important is how close the food which we consume is either grown or reared. And it seems to me as though the plant-based treaty just either ignores that because it's convenient for it to do so, or fails to recognise it because it doesn't want to. So, Chairman, if we are being asked to consider this, that is my consideration, and unfortunately I won't be supporting the motion this evening.
Councillor Spicer.
Thank you, Chair. I won't be supporting this. I actually put this on Facebook to ask my residents what they thought about this, and they thought it was taking choice away from them. This is, we are a select few here, and we are making a rather large decision to take this further. Yes, the wording has changed from the last meeting. It is now consider, but I always think when we start changing motions and what's called project slip, when will it automatically go back to, we will go to and change this. We were talking about the wastage of food, what goes to animals. The reason why that goes to animals is because of all of the people in this country choose to have pristine vegetables, pristine wheat for bread. It's not that the farmers go, let's feed it to our animals, because actually, if they stick to the people, they would get a better price. It's normally 1/3 of what it actually produces. If you think about our landscape at this very present, we are madly trying to put trees back into the ground to actually repopulate the woodlands here. Why was they gone at that point? Is because after the Second World War, we had to put the ground to work, which means we had to take out hedgerows, we had to make it efficient, we had to drain it, we had to do all this thing for the wheat and the actual crops what we are eating now, which we are very lucky to have. We have one of the most fertile grounds in this country because we have a mixture of farms. We do not rely on one source to actually re-energise the soil. If everybody wants to go back to, having human waste processed and actually fertilising the soil, yes, that's fine. But actually what happens is it doesn't really get the soil enriched enough. You need a mixture, like everybody. And I do agree that people should reduce their meat intake, but I don't think we should be actually projecting our aspirations on others, and we should make it a possible choice for everybody to take forward.
Thank you. Councillor Pashby.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I guess like many people in this room, I come from a generation when meat and 2 veg on the table every night was the norm. And that was until I met my wife, who's a vegetarian. And people have talked about being carnivores, but actually most people in this room are omnivores, or as the current buzzword is, multitarian. Over the last few years, I've become more vegetarian in my outlook. Yes, I still like my battered haddock on a Friday. Yes, I still like my roast meat on a Sunday. Very traditional. But the rest of the week, we eat vegetarian food. And the health benefits for me have been amazing. And part of this is to look at the education aspect. Because we need to educate people on their health benefits. We've got a cohort of people in this country and in this area who are obese, and let's not cook our words. I am as well, but eating more vegetarian food helps with your general demeanour and your general health. We can't do that. And to take that into the schools and explain why we would like them to have a meat-free day, 1 day a week, I think is a very, very good idea. So I will be supporting this motion.
Councillor French.
I'd like to also support this motion. I think it's asking us to consider. It's not asking us to sign up to anything. I've also taken on a more plant-based diet myself because my daughter wanted to become vegetarian a few years back, and sort of to support her I said, well, I'll do it too, and we can make sure we eat a healthy diet together. And to be honest, I haven't looked back. I've got to try loads of delicious new foods, and I think that's what it's about, finding new things, new choices, learning, just sharing recipes, So I think it's a really positive thing.
Councillor Townsend.
I can't quote statistics at you. My colleague has done that very, very well. I can't even tell you what to eat. I'm a celiac. My things are restricted. By the way, don't tell my husband, but we've started to eat a more plant-based diet. Don't tell him, please. Take it off the public record. I could be in trouble. But why am I saying this? Yes, he is of that generation that if he doesn't have meat in a meal, he feels like I'm starving him. But we gradually shifted to more of a plant-based meal. And like Councillor Bell, I enjoy a good steak. Although one of the best meals I had was a kosher, gluten-free, vegan meal in New York recently. I didn't know that the beef bourguignon on my flatbread was actually jackfruit. Who knew these things? I will get to the point. You may be thinking, and I heard that, you can't tell me what to eat from Councillor Spicer. I also heard that from Councillor Farage. Should we be signing up for the whole of this? I want you to go back to the words, because words really matter in this concept. We're not signing up to the plant-based treaty, we're considering it. I completely agree that we should be looking to cut food miles down. Absolutely. So that whole urban farm thing sent shivers down my spine. But we've been asked to consider it. That's very, very different. And I want to leave you with a couple of words. We all felt in the last couple of weeks the impact of adverse climate change. I can't be the only councillor that had very worried phone calls, very worried messages because their property was being flooded. So we all know this is happening, so let's not shy away from it. I'm just going to read a little section from a council officer that was sent to me. We have had exceptionally poor weather this year, 8 named storms. You could say it's just been a bad year. I would disagree with that. But I'd say all of us want to do something about climate change. This is a very small step. It's not committing us to anything, but it's an easy way to start to ease us forward. So I'm going to support this motion.
Thank you. I'll take 4 more. Councillor Collin.
Thank you, Chair. So a lot of people supporting the aspirations behind this, a lot of people saying or intimating that it's made them feel more positive, all of which is good things. Personally, I will not be supporting this. I do notice it now says consider, but what we now seem to have before us is a motion that doesn't actually commit to anything and doesn't have any specific deliverables. And it's these kind of motions is the reason that we're back here on a Wednesday night, because we couldn't complete the business the first time round. But don't worry, we've got about another dozen of them to go. I'm not going to repeat a lot of what Councillor Spicer said, but I have several farmers in my ward. I feel incredibly uncomfortable voting on a motion that tells them how to farm differently. I think they know what they're doing. And finally, just in case anyone says I should cut out the red meat to be calmer, I can happily say, and congratulations to all the people that are moving in that direction, and I very much hear what Councillor Pashby says. I haven't touched meat in 32 years. And I've never had a problem getting fed in this place when the canteen is open. So for those reasons, good luck to the people that do support this, but this motion is not for me.
Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Chair. So I have considered the plant-based treaty, and I'm afraid I can't support this motion either. So to me, whether people want to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever they want to eat, that's a personal choice. It's not compulsory and it should not be imposed. I've read the demands that are in the treaty, and to me they are against the principles of this rural area where we have a strong farming community, and we're here to support the residents that we represent, and that includes our farmers. So I couldn't possibly support a treaty that talks about no building of new animal farms, no expansion or intensification of existing farms, no conversion of plant-based agriculture to animal agriculture, and it goes on. I can't support these things. And I note that whilst the motion has been watered down, and you're now asking the Council to explore further ways of promoting a shift to plant-based diets, the recommendations actually come out of the treaty, aim to reduce the public's consumption of animal-based foods through education in schools, transition to plant-based meal plans in schools and hospitals and other government institutions. I'm sorry, I cannot support this motion.
Point of information, Councillor Vesalian, before I move on to the last two speakers.
Thank you, Chairman. In the event of a recorded vote, I need to abstain, and I'd like it on the public record why. I have a conflict of interest as a sheep farmer.
Thank you very much.
Point of order, Chairman, if I may.
What's your point of order? Constitution, please.
22.5.1.
Give me 1 second, please.
Chairman, I will call for it.
Just give me 1 second, just to check that. Won't be a second, Nigel. 22.5.1. Make it, so tell us why, Nigel.
I think it's a matter of some importance, both personal and as a matter for a group, and I see no reason why we shouldn't have on record people's views about the plant-based treaty and the fact that this council is asking us to consider it. And that certainly is an extension of the sustainability plan, but could have wider implications. I mean, I don't, with the utmost respect.
So you said that for me. I'm not going to go any further. So you want a recorded vote on that?
Yes, Chair.
Do you have a second for that? Okay, Councillor Fage. I will. So I need at least 10 people to show. So all those in favour of a recorded vote, please show. Okay, so there will be a recorded vote on this. I'm going to take the last two interventions before I move to that vote then. Councillor Clinch.
Thank you. The wording of this motion in the end comes down to the sustainability plan, and the sustainability plan is all about the actions we take towards avoiding climate change, protecting nature, and the co-benefits that those things have. Encouraging eating more fruit and vegetables, encouraging moving to a bigger part of our diet being plant-based rather than animal-based has got huge health benefits. It is not. It doesn't need to be basically a culture war about whether or not everyone has to be a vegetarian or a compulsion. It's actually about the sustainability plan and the cross benefits that has across all areas of council, say particularly into education, but also into health. And I'm just surprised at actually the hostility that we've taken a treaty and the wording, and we've considered it, and we've discussed it, and we've heard very different views, but actually the outcome is to suggest that we explore further ways of promoting a shift to plant-based diets. It's very straightforward and I think positive addition into the sustainability plan refresh, and I'd perhaps like us to just readjust our viewpoints to a practical good outcome with very many benefits. Thank you.
Last one, Councillor Hayes.
Thank you, Chair. Just quickly, I've got an interest as well because I live on a farm, but also I would like to say that farmers don't just farm animals, they do grow plants and vegetables as well. So just I thought I'd bring that forward because it's a lot of reliance on the meat as opposed to plants element, where I think that actually a plant-based diet that's low in high fat, sugar and salt is healthy, and it does have a lot of influence on our preventative health outcomes. It also, if we're educating our children and our families on the benefits of eating fresh fruit and vegetables, it could be localised. It doesn't necessarily need to be entirely plant-based, but I think the key takeaway from this motion is that we're considering the principles of the plant-based treaty and the items that were specifically listed. So we're not looking to adopt, as I understand the motion to be, or enforce anybody to eat a specific diet, but it's actually adopting the principles of the plant-based treaty to encourage people to be more healthy and live more sustainably. So I'll support the motion on that basis, provided that that's actually the sentiment behind the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Y, I apologise, I didn't come to you as executive member to respond. I'm going to give you a chance to do that now, and then we'll go to Councillor Childs to wrap up.
Okay, also as seconder, I guess, is my... Yeah. Right, so, forgive me, I've made notes. The question of it being anything to do with the actual plant-based treaty as is online by the organisation, I think we've come to the conclusion, we didn't, or Councillor Childs came to the conclusion, we didn't want to support that in its entirety, often for the reasons that you've pointed out. So to think we're actually going to sign up to that by voting for this is not accurate. Right. Apologies. Right, so, Councillor Spicer, it isn't about taking away anyone's choice. It's about giving advice that this is a good thing to do in very much the same way as, like, you could smoke if you want, but very much the advice is please don't smoke. It's going to ruin your health. So if you eat less meat, you might improve your health. Improving your health will save everybody money overall. Following the debate last time, I did actually get invited down to a farm in your area, Kevin, and had a lovely day out with the lads at Pepperstock Farm, and it's extremely impressive, and I think that's exactly, if you're going to eat meat, the sort of meat you should be eating. They're going to aspire to be a closed circle farming community and actually be carbon negative by sequestering carbon into their land. Why are we doing it? Okay, I've had some research recently that says that local authorities are a trusted voice, more trusted than the government. So if the council throws its weight behind you can laugh, that's what the research said, it's a trusted voice. So if there's a message that needs to come out to improve everyone's health and our sustainability, and the council is saying it, it's a trusted voice, and I think that's the reason why we should do it. How hard will it be to do it? Not very hard. We've got people signing up to updates from the council, 18,000 to a countryside newsletter, 13,000 to our sustainability letter, 21,000 to our schools letter. So there are easy ways to get this message out that won't really have any financial implications. In terms of our officers, will they have to do loads of work? No, because this message is already out there. And they can, they all know about this anyway, so that's fine. Schools, young people, they want this. They want to be sustainable. They want to be taking climate actions. It's not just about old people who want to eat their meat on a Sunday. It's about young people. And this is what they want. So they might not respond to your Facebook page and say this is great, because young people don't do Facebook because they've got other stuff going on. And so I would welcome a recorded vote so we can all see exactly who is committed to our declared sustainability and emergency declaration and who isn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Childs to sum up, please.
Well, thank you very much, and as expected, really interesting debate. And I personally respect everyone's view on this, and I do really want to really underline the fact that when nobody is asking anybody, not dictating anything, it is about the principles. It's also a very hot topic everywhere. Every time I seem to open the newspaper, put on the telly, something in the news, even prevents COVID, even if to eat less meat. So that's got to be a good thing, surely. And I take the point about the smoking. I mean, there's plenty out there to encourage people to not smoke. There's plenty of people that still smoke, but the NHS still treats them. So I don't think we are dictating anything, and that wasn't anything behind my thinking. I think in more terms it's about preventative health, and children are definitely interested in this topic. And I think it's a great point that Councillor Bell made about children understanding where the food comes from. Really, really important. The National School Food Standards were updated last February, and they actually promote 3 plant-based meals a week. So 3 out, in my reckoning, the 7 days in a week. So that's only not even half of the week that we're trying to encourage them to eat or consider. We're not even telling them, because on a menu there's a choice, and we're all free to make a choice. So I think that is really important, and it is, and the very reason that we're actually not asking to sign the actual treaty itself is because we're wanting to take or consider some of the points. Even better word is explore, I think. So, yeah, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing the outcome of the vote.
Thank you very much, Councillor Childs. Councillor Watkins, you indicated you had an interest you wanted to declare.
Yes, simply I'll abstain because I forgot that my brother-in-law owns the excellent Clayton's Butchers in Potton. I very much recommend the game pie at Christmas.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move to the recorded vote. But of course, maybe if you want to crystallise your minds, you can see that this chiselled Greek god of a figure has been created by eating meat all my life. So let that inform your decision as it will. Sandra.
Thank you, Chairman. When I call your name, could you please say for, against or abstain? Councillor Adams.
Against.
Alderman. Baker.
Abstain.
Bell. Bly. Bongo. Brown. Connell. Childs. Chillery. Clark. Clinch. Collins. Crawley. Daniels. Fage. Farrell. Ford. French. Gent. Russell Goodchild. Susan Goodchild. John Gurney. Kenson Gurney. Hamill. Hares. Harvey. Hegley. Holland Lindsay. Howe. Jamison. Lehman. Lydiard. Mackey. McMahon. Matthew. Owen. Ashby. Pugh. Roberts. Shelby. Smith. Spicer. Stevenson. Summerfield. Townsend. Vassallian. Walsh. Watkins. Whitaker. Whitewick. Young. Zerny. Thank you.
So Numbers are 431 against 16, abstained 7, so the motion is carried.